Good morning. It's regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners. Time is around 9:15. Roll call.
Let the record reflect the Commissioners Ibarra, Hara, Lindbergh, and Woods Gray are present. You have a quorum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence in honor of past and present members of the Los Angeles Fire Department who devote their lives to the protection of our community. Thank you.
So we start with Commissioner comments.
Well, good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to offer my condolences to the family and friends and all of the whole fire department on the passage of Chief Jerome Boyd. I actually knew him, and I was very shocked when I heard of his passing on, was that Friday, in the news. I first met him in the elevator here when we introduced ourselves to each other and said, and who are you and what do you do and where do you work? As I do with every firefighter that I meet in the elevator. I never let one of them pass without asking what they do. Anyway, that was a very sad loss, and it seems as if we have a lot of them here recently. But on Thursday, I went with Captain, is it the captain at 94s who's working with Dorsey, Captain Connigan, to Dorsey High School, and they had a really interesting display and activity over there where they were trying to just announce the idea that there would be a magnet at the school. And they had all of the different vehicles from 94 and a lot of the firefighters from 94. So the parents and the students, and they were all excited to see this. Everybody was taking pictures, and there were parents there whose students were really interested in being in a magnet. From what I could gather in talking to the parents and the teachers, they were excited to have a magnet of that kind at Dorsey High School. So that made me feel good to be there. And also we had the Banning High School program students there, and they looked very appropriate in their dress and their behavior. As we took pictures, I said, okay, your hands have to go behind your back. I said, oh, they train it from the beginning. That's good. Very formal. But they were well-mannered, and other students were coming up talking to them, and so that was it was a good experience for the school, for the community, and I think that it sounds like we may have something going there real soon, according to the magnet coordinator. So anyway, that was a venture that I had with the 94s, and I didn't know, Captain Duffy's son is at 94, so that was a pleasure to meet him and to see. I had not met him before because that particular platoon is one that I had not met all the people on. At any rate, it was a fun evening, and I'm glad to see that there's so much reception and appreciation for firefighters at that particular facility.
So we move on to report of the fire chief.
Thank you, Madam President. On April 20th, Mayor Garcetti had his State of the City address in City Hall. Well attended, a very positive vision of our future for the next few years in his term. And then I had a series of meetings in preparation for the budget. We had our budget hearing on April 26th in council chambers, and we made a request for 8 additional items. We're still waiting to hear back on the decision as to whether we'll be funded for those things. We're optimistic, and I think the proposed budget has a lot of good things in it. We do have funding for Drill Tower 81 for 3 additional classes next year, 195 firefighters next fiscal year. So we'll know the final outcome in the next few weeks. Friday, as was mentioned previously, on the 28th, we got the terrible news about Chief Boyd's accident. He did pass away. He was transported to California Hospital. California Hospital was great. They treated us outstanding. We immediately organized inspectors who showed up spontaneously and others at the hospital and figured out how could we give our respects. And we coordinated a procession from California to the coroner's office. We ended up going right by City Hall East so that the fire prevention staff could pay their respects. I was very proud of Fire Station 9 and 10. And they had crossed aerials up along the route, and Fire Station 25 and 2 near the coroner's office. The autopsy has been completed. They'll be transporting Chief Boyd today from the coroner's office to the mortuary. They'll be stopping at Fire Station 3 for a flag service at 11:30, so we're going to try to make that after this meeting. And then his memorial service will be Monday at 11 a.m. Near LA Live. We're not sure which of those theaters. So that was a tragic day for us. Chief Boyd, I believe, was 55 years old and in great health. He looked very physically fit. So we'll see how this plays out. He's a tremendous loss to the department. On the April 29th, I attended the First AME Church remembrance of the 25th anniversary of the LA riots. Mayor Garcetti was there, Mayor Villaraigosa, Mayor Reardon, a lot of people from both the African American and the Korean community. It was a great event to show how everybody has worked together in the ensuing years to have open communication and community outreach, and it was a very well received event. Yesterday was the May Day March. We did a lot of training, a lot of preparation for that. I'm happy to say that it was very uneventful. We had less than 20 transports. We're very well organized. We had our DOC and our EOC in operation. We had resources staged at strategic locations nearby all the different events that were planned. And then lastly, this coming Sunday, May 7th, we're having our annual Fahrenheit event at our Hotchkiss Training Center. I think that starts at 5 p.m., and our honoree is Magic Johnson. So while we have the opportunity to talk to Magic, we'll be recruiting him for our LAFD basketball team because we do not do very well against LAPD. So we'll see if Magic's up for a challenge. And we hope he can ask his friends Kobe and others. We'll give him a one-day LAFD contract to make it legit when Chief Beck asks me about it. And I'll say they're firefighters. They're just very tall. That concludes my report.
Thank you. So verbal report by the department on significant incidents from April 18th to May 1.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Terrazas, Council. My name is Al Poyer, Chief Deputy of Emergency Operations. I'm here to report to you on emergency incidents, significant incidents since April 18th. We'll talk to you. We had several incidents. We'll talk to you today about a couple of those incidents along with myself and Chief Richmond. On April 25th, Tuesday, April 25th, LAFD Resources responded to a reported multi-vehicle traffic collision on the northbound 5 freeway, along with resources from the Glendale Fire Department, the Burbank Fire Department, and the California Highway Patrol. If you look at your screen, you'll see video of the incident. A large semi-truck and trailer was traveling northbound near Colorado Boulevard, collided with several vehicles and lost control and went through the center divider. You'll see that the K-rail is damaged and collided with several other vehicles in the southbound lanes. The vehicle caught fire, and there were multiple vehicles involved, multiple injuries. The incident demonstrates our ability to transition tactically from The significant fire that we had on scene, a major metropolitan freeway with traffic you're dealing with. You're dealing with multiple agencies. A communication plan that we had in place with our mutual aid partners worked very effectively. We reviewed the incident, and it sounded as though we were all one department, worked very seamlessly, coordinated all the resources. We ultimately had 11 patients on this incident. Tragically, one person was killed. The driver of the semi and his pet were killed. We had 3 criticals, and the remaining patients were transported in less than critical condition. But again, our firefighters and paramedics did an outstanding job here. The communication plan worked. They transitioned from the different types of activities that they're faced with on this type of incident, and did very well. If you have any questions about this incident, I'd like to pass it on to Chief Richmond to talk about a major emergency structure fire we had.
Thank you.
Good morning, Deputy Chief Trevor Richmond, Commander, Operations Valley Bureau. On April 27th at approximately a little after 2 in the morning, Los Angeles Fire Department responded to a major emergency structure fire at 681 South Bonnie Bray in Fire Station 11's First in District. First arriving companies, as you can see from the video, found a vacant 2-story Victorian single-family home, well involved both floors, exposing a 4-story center hallway apartment building that was also vacant, as well as a 1-story 50-patient convalescent hospital to the south. The initial companies aggressively attacked the main body of fire, eliminating the radiant heat, and were extremely successful in maintaining the fire's footprint to just both of the vacant structures. This really is a good example of a fire in Los Angeles City, and how we're able to bear numerous amounts of resources within a short period of time to keep a fire like this that really has the potential to become a major disaster in the city of Los Angeles. Seeing that most of the buildings are built so closely together, a fire of this nature, this size, with that amount of radiant heat can very easily start adjacent buildings on fire. All told, we had 24 fire companies, 12 rescue ambulances, 5 battalion chiefs, 1 assistant chief, and 1 deputy chief, and also Chief Terrazas did come to the incident towards the knockdown stage. It took approximately 1 hour and 26 minutes from the time of dispatch to knock this fire down. What I'd like to do, if we can, is show you an aerial shot, a still shot, if we've got that, Cap, to really put this fire in perspective and to show what a great job the companies did on this. Looking at this fire from the air after the fire was extinguished. Do we have an aerial shot of that? No, we don't. Okay, I apologize. No aerial shot. But what you would have seen was a building in the center of these 2 structures that was completely destroyed, and a 4-story apartment building that had fire on all floors, and the top floor was completely burned off. And then right next to the main fire building was like I said, a 1-story convalescent home with approximately 50 patients. The companies did such a good job that the 1-story convalescent home had no damage. And then to the north of the 4-story center hallway, we had another commercial structure that received no damage. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you. Do we have a verbal report by the medical director?
Good morning, Commissioners. Dr. Mark Eckstein, EMS Bureau Commander. Significant EMS incident since our last meeting. On April 22nd, in Fire Station 81's First In, there was a tragic incident with a 12-year-old girl who was pulled from a pool in full cardiac arrest. Engine and Rescue 81 did an outstanding job and were able to achieve a return of spontaneous circulation of this girl. Her neurologic status is unknown. She was transported hemodynamically stable to Northridge Hospital. Also another tragic incident involving children on April 24th in 21's First In A relative accidentally, apparently backed over a 16-month-old male in the driveway of the home. Tragically, the toddler suffered fatal injuries on scene, and the department psychologist responded, and the mayor's crisis response team also responded to help with the grief and counseling for our members as well as the family members on scene. On April 30th, in 88's First Inn, a woman drove her 73-year-old husband up to Fire Station 88, who was complaining of chest pain. As luck would have it, the entire task force and Rescue 88 were out of the station, but fortunately we had admin sworn members on duty in the station, in the offices, in the back, who immediately rendered aid, called in the still alarm, and the patient was found agonal breathing and cardiac arrest in the car, and the captains and officers at the station were able to use a defibrillator at 88's, defibrillate this gentleman, achieve also return of spontaneous circulation. 12 lead EKG showed he was in fact having an acute heart attack. He was transported to Valley Presbyterian Hospital, again hemodynamically stable. He was starting to breathe on his own and is expected to make a full recovery. This incident demonstrates that even our members, when they're not in a emergency response capacity doing office work, are always ready to respond, and they saved the life of this gentleman. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to presentation.
Good morning, Fire Commissioners, Fire Chief, City Attorney, Leticia. Eric Scott, Fire Captain, Paramedic, Public Information Officer. This morning we're going to briefly describe to you how one of your firefighters here really made a dramatic rescue and saved another man's life. He'll tell you he was just doing his job, as he told me this morning. But he did an extraordinary job that day. It was on January 12, 2017, when firefighter Brent Hartwell responded to a structure fire in Highland Park. As they arrived on scene, there were early reports from our dispatch center that someone may have been trapped inside. So as they pulled up on the fire engine, there was smoke in the area. They went to secure a supply line or to gain water from a fire hydrant to give to their hand lines. The firefighter here jumped off, was very proactive, showed initiative, ran 400 feet up to the area in full turnouts while people were running out saying that somebody was trapped. He pinpointed one of them, said exactly what house. Came up to that house, found out what window, and he looked behind a window that was very tall, head high, filled with security bars, glowing orange behind, and a person's face was in there. Already there were civilians trying to pull those bars off, and they couldn't even make them budge. So firefighter Hartwell ran back to the fire engine, secured a rotary saw, came back up to that scene, was able to reach the bottom rung, cut that open, but still couldn't get to the top. So he used a neighbor's ladder that was nearby, was able to throw that up, cut the top rung, and still there was such thick bougainvillea vines wrapped around it, it wouldn't open. He had to then force his body between the stucco, push that open, and tell that man to jump on his back. Just and so he was able to jump on his back, pull them to safety to awaiting firefighter paramedics who rendered him medical aid. That patient suffered smoke inhalation, hair was beginning to burn, and if it wasn't for the acts of firefighter Hartwell, he surely would have passed away. So at this point, we would like to read the certificate from the fire chief in reference to firefighter Hartwell. It's a certificate of appreciation to Brent G. Hartwell, firefighter 3. In recognition and sincere gratitude for your heroic courage, diligent efforts, personal initiative, and expedient assistance that directly resulted in saving a man's life during a structure fire on January 12, 2017 in Highland Park, the Los Angeles Fire Department commends you for your extraordinary life-saving efforts to a citizen of the City of Los Angeles. Presented this second day of May 2017, Ralph M. Terrazas, Fire Chief.
Okay, Brent's a little shy. He doesn't want to talk. But first of all, I got to say, Captain Scott, you narrate a great story. And visualizing what Brent did Hey, Brent, you gotta stand here next to me if you know. I'm going to talk good things about you. I want you to be right next to me. Visualizing what you did is a true tribute to not only yourself, but the entire department. He went above and beyond. He knew that the delay in getting to the engine or to the house may be too late. So he took proactive action and did what he did. And because of that, a man is alive today. Brent, I'm going to try to embarrass you later. We're going to put you in for consideration for an honorary award. That goes before a committee, an independent committee, and they'll make a decision. But I'm very, very proud of the men and women of this department. I'm especially proud of Brent for his actions on that day. Congratulations, and thank you, Brent.
So now we move on to the consent agenda items. Committee moves in.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So the first of our regular agenda items is to report by the department on the Coupa program.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chief Trousers, Council. My name is Roy Song. I'm the Coupa manager for LFD. On January 17th, California Environmental Protection Agency, the State Water Resources Control Board, Office of State Fire Marshal, DTSC, and the Office of Emergency Services conducted the first triennial evaluation since 2014 for the Coupa program. And this was the first evaluation since 2014, and just historically, we didn't do so well in that evaluation, and we ended up on a program improvement agreement due to a lack of confidence in our ability to manage the program. I'm happy to say in this last evaluation, we did amazingly well. And so we only had 6 deficiencies for the entire evaluation, and 4 of them belong to LFD, 2 belong to LA County Fire Department. So just a little clarity there. LA County Fire does the hazardous waste inspections for the city, and but because we have an agreement with them, which has been in place since 1996, we're actually responsible for their program performance in the city. So LA County got 2 deficiencies out of the 6, so we end up with 4 overall. So that's a great success story for the Coupa. So of those 4 deficiencies, we had one that kind of carried over, and that's trying to get our businesses into the state portal to report their inventory. So our dispatch has that when we get call-outs. And that's going to still take a little while to correct because we have 7,000 businesses that we put into that system every year. And just trying to get compliance in that program is difficult, but we're working on all different angles. The Above Ground Tank program, we've done all the inspections there, but they wanted to see some more re-inspections, so we've already conducted those, so we already corrected that deficiency. There was a self-audit in past years that we did not complete, and they picked up on that, and so it's due again this year on September 30th, so I'll be doing that and take care of it, and it'll be corrected then. And lastly, there was 4 underground storage tank sites that had not completed enhanced leak detection to make sure they're not leaking, because they're close to drinking water wells in the city. So For us, that's pretty easy to achieve compliance on 3 of the 4, and the inventory reporting in the state service system is going to take a little bit longer. The key points to the evaluation really for us is there's no deficiencies for the UST program as far as the quality of inspections go, and that was a big deal in the last evaluation. And I think we had something like 8 or 9 UST deficiencies, and it was all about quality of our inspections, and we didn't get any this time around, and that's amazing that we were able to do that. So a lot of kudos to our fire inspectors for that. As far as the outstanding program implementation, we not only just met all the minimum, we went above as well. And so they mentioned in the report, we had worked on, we participated in environmental justice initiative within the city, which had state involvement as well. Electronic data management, we went 100% digital in the whole program. Even our plan check process, that people don't come in anymore and submit paper plans. It's all electronic for us. So, and we presented that actually at the Cooper conference in February here in front of all the regulators in the state. So that's a big thing for us. Interagency coordination, like I'm on the Cooper Forum board, and there's just a lot of things statewide that we're involved in now, which we weren't involved in the past. So that's another good thing. Use of enforcement funds to pursue our Cooper goals. So basically, we did a lot of UST inspections, did a lot of follow-up, did a lot of enforcement, and some of that enforcement means, facilities have to come into us for what they call an administrative enforcement order. So I think we did roughly around about 57 over the last 12 months, and resulting in about $550,000 in penalties. And with that revenue, we were able to purchase a whole fleet of cars for the whole Cooper section. So, and that was much needed too. The cars were kind of aging, so that was a great benefit for us. Also too, within the Cooper, for us to get organized and really achieve what we did, we had to get the guys in different committees and kind of set goals for themselves, work out issues, set policy, and then train each other. So we got a lot of kudos from that, from the state as well. And just all the improvements in our underground storage tank that was also recognized by the state. And in fact, at the last Cooper conference, the chief for the State Water Resources Control Board had all the LFD fire inspectors stand up amongst a couple of hundred regulators and gave them a lot of kudos for, really turning the program around. And she also mentioned that she sees LFD being kind of like a role model program for the rest of the state here in the next couple of years. So that was good work. As far as the education goes, we've able to get the fire inspectors through and not receive a deficiency for that. And part of the reason is because they have experience in the program and they got some credit for that. And so, basically you need to have 30 units of science to be a Cooper inspector. And if you got 1 year experience, they drop it down to 15. So all the guys were able to get through with 15 units, and we got everyone through, which was good. But the problem going forward is the new inspectors coming to the program are not going to have any experience, and they're going to have to meet the full 30 units of science. And so that's going to be a challenge for us going forward, and it's something we're just going to have to work on. So overall, the evaluation was extremely positive, and for the Commission, I guarantee you now that the state's very comfortable and confident with the program, and I don't see us having any major issues going forward. Just lastly, I do want to recognize the fire inspectors for all their efforts. They've done an amazing job, and I'm very proud with Captain Dragata to lead them. And there's no other Cooper in the state that has fire inspectors that do Cooper inspections. And there was kind of a thought from the state that they could never do it, and they were able to turn around and actually do it. So they're amazing people. That concludes my updates. If there's any other questions.
Thanks. So did you say no other Coopas have firefighters who do it?
There's no other Coopers that have a whole section. I just found out recently there's one Cooper that has one person that recently come on board that's sworn. But we as LFD, has a lot of tradition, and we kept sworn inspectors since the start of the Cooper program, and they're able to make it. So we are the only one.
Because I was going to ask you how they do with how other Coopas handle the education requirement.
So the other Cooper inspectors are all science degree people, and so they meet these units fairly easily. And the way we kind of met it here is that not only just through that experience in the program, but we have an agreement with East LA College. So if we do in-service training, whatever here, that converts to units, and that's how the inspectors were able to get through. Yeah. And I mean, that takes a long time to get 15 units, but getting 30 units through that process is going to be a challenge, and I don't really think that's going to happen. And it's more like, as fire inspectors promote, we're going to have to look at, who's got a science degree. I mean, they're the sort of people that we're going to have to be looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a huge turnaround from 2013 when you had, we were thinking that the state was going to decertify the LAFD Cooper program. So congratulations, because a lot of it is a lot of your work with the fire marshal and fire prevention unit. Thanks a lot. This is, it's kind of unexpected that that the improvement has been so dramatic from my perspective.
Yeah. Thank you. I'd just say, for me, it's a team. Without Captain Dragato, he's amazing. He's been a very good partner with me, and the inspectors all just jumped on board. They wanted that program to succeed. So I felt like a lot of it was taken care of already. I just had to reorganize people a little bit, and so my job was a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah. Well, it's also a big deal that we're, that we're one of the few, or the only Cooper program that has all sworn members too. So that's also an achievement.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thanks.
I just want to say congratulations. This is outstanding. I mean, especially coming from where it was before. So I just wanted to echo your remarks. Yeah. I just have a question about the county, the two deficiencies that unfortunately we're responsible for that we have no jurisdiction over. You had mentioned that you were working with the state, Cal EPA, with it. How is that going, and what is the process so that we can actually have full governing power over those?
Well, for that issue, we're not quite there yet. I mean, we haven't even had a chance to brief the fire chief on that. But basically, there's been an agreement in place since 1996.
What's that?
There's been an agreement in place since 1996 where the county's done the hazardous waste inspections for us. And it actually did before then, but the whole Cooper program started in 96, and they've been doing it since then. But there's some questions about whether they're really doing the inspections and the quality inspections, the same sort of issues that we had in 2014. And the Cooper is meant to be really a one-stop shop for businesses, and so to have multiple inspectors coming in from different agencies, that's totally against what the Cooper is about. The Cooper is about consolidating inspections. So we do that in consolidating billing too, because you pay a bunch of permit fees for different inspectors. So we collect the revenue for LA County and we give it to them. We do the billing for them. We do a lot of different things for them, and I feel like we could just do that ourselves and have complete control over hazardous waste. We would get the revenue from the permitting. There's enforcement that in the hazardous waste program that we could be involved in, and it just makes a lot of sense even for businesses. I feel like right now the county is charging an inspection fee for the hazardous waste inspectors to come out, and then we charge a fee for us to come out. We could consolidate it down to one person, and obviously it's going to be cheaper for businesses as well. So,
right.
But this is something we need to discuss, and we have to make a decision on if we're going to pursue it or not. But there is a lot of support out there statewide.
Does the state make the decision?
Yes, Cal EPA will make the decision on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I'd like to add my words of encouragement too and gratitude. As I recall, when I came into this position, there was talk of us losing the program, and to go from there to being a model for the state, I think it's a tribute to the men and women in that section, to you, Roy, to Captain Dragato. I know it's an entire team. One person doesn't make it happen. It's the whole team. So the results speak for themselves. I'm very proud of all of you. And we'll have a further, more in-depth discussion about the waste part of this moving forward.
Thank you.
I'd also like to commend you, because when I first started, I guess it was 4 years ago, like the chief said, we thought, well, there was this tug of war between keeping our firefighters and getting rid of the program. That was an interesting issue. And I'm really happy to hear you commend the inspectors in your department for the work that they're doing and how they pitched in and really wanted to save this program. I'm really happy to hear that. And thank you for your leadership along with all of the firefighters who are in the inspection department. What is the Environmental Justice Program?
The Environmental Justice Program is it was a state initiative to pick up on communities that were economically depressed. And so I guess just historically in those communities, enforcement wasn't the same as more affluent communities. And so ultimately in the end, they were kind of suffering from emissions and all sorts of things that probably in more affluent communities don't. And so it was really a targeted project where they bring in a bunch of state agencies and local agencies. They put them on a bus, they roll into an area. We went to Boyle Heights and Pacoima, and they just walk into facilities that they've been told about that are maybe operating underhandedly, and they do a full investigation, and then they put them through the enforcement process. At the end of that, we went to 2 community workshops in Pacoima and Boyle Heights and reported back to the communities on what we've done. And so it's a good process for everyone.
Okay. Were those the only 2 areas in Los Angeles?
That we did.
That you did?
Yeah. But there's another one they're working towards is down in Wilmington. They're going to be doing the same thing down there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. So, can I have
I move that we've received and filed BFC 17-053.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
So, moving on to 5B, which is report by the department on the workers' compensation audit update.
Good morning, Madam President, Commission, Fire Chief Terrazas, Council. My name is Scott Quinn, Battalion Chief, representing Risk Management Section today for the report on the work comp audit. At the direction of the February 20th Fire Commission meeting, we made a verbal presentation on this report. A comprehensive review of our successes at this point have been presented in front of you. In review of the 2015 audit, the key points identified 11 findings that turned into 19 recommendations. Through the process, were reduced to 18, with an emphasis on injury illness prevention and a recommended cost reduction on new claims costs of 2%. Of those findings, they're put into categories of A and B. At this point, we have satisfied 17 of the now 18 recommendations. During the process, we also focused on achieving goal number 5 of the LAFD strategic plan, which implemented health and safety, providing department-wide education and prevention training, establish claim cost review with our partners in risk management and workers' compensation, and fostered a collaborative effort with the first care providers and claim managers that are already contracted to do work for the city. There's a lengthy content in the report that has to do with the discussion. It identifies the 6 previous reports that have been presented, including a subcommittee with the City Council office, a report that was done for the Personnel and Animal Welfare and Public Safety Committee that identified other efforts that were gained and implemented by the Risk Management Section. There's some background information for educational means for the workers' comp arena that were under the guidelines of and regulations. There's a brief input in there of what the rules or the responsibilities and requirements of risk management, and then basically the overall of where we're at with the successes of the audit. There were 3 recommendations that had remained. 2.2 has been partially implemented. Its challenge is a designated budget for the safety officer. Part of that component is that the safety officer already has a part in the vetting process of new equipment related to safety and apparatus. Recommendation 2.3 has been fully implemented at the direction or the publishing of the Mayor's Executive Directive number 18. That was on February of this year. And then recommendation 6.2, which is to consider designing training based on an evaluation of injuries and illnesses based on age and years of service, has not been fully implemented. Our challenge on that is relying on data to mature. We've been through a variety of systems that collect information, and we're seeking on how that, it's still under consideration but not implemented, just the data is not matured. We've addressed as many of the recommendations as possible with the systems that are in place. There are more things that are en route citywide development of infrastructure for data collection systems, and we're still continuing with the strategic plan. It's going to continue as a roadmap until the next strategic plan is put into place, and should there be any future audits. And at this point, prepared to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the written report. I see that you've implemented a lot of really great things. I like the lifting techniques you guys have implemented. You're expediting claims, which I know has been a problem. So those are fantastic. I just have a couple of questions. So I want to commend your department on that. Have you done an evaluation of the wellness and fitness program? Because that was one of the recommendations that said county had implemented it, and they saw a significant reduction in the percentages of claims. We don't need to talk about costs. I know that those are out of your control, but percentages of claims?
We have looked at other agencies' models to see how they may be implemented. One of theirs is a salary-based percentage incentive for remaining fit for duty, so to speak. We have had a downward trend in the number of injuries. We average anywhere between 1,100 and 1,200. It seems to be our arena. The cost of service, as you pointed to, is outpacing our prevention measures. We are targeting areas that we know we have good data to look at. We know that backs are the most challenging and most consistent injury in the fire service, so we take multi-approaches to that. Put the education out there, use an engineering component of finding lighter tools or better ways to manage it, and then we look at the enforcement where we look at injuries and illnesses to see if they can be prevented and follow up with more education, better tools and equipment, and fit for duty. So we haven't addressed the fitness for duty program for the LAFD. We've just looked at others, and it isn't necessarily the best fit at this point.
Isn't really, but you're in the process of creating this.
It's being evaluated, and although it was mentioned in the audit, it wasn't in the easiest task for us to get into. It gets into other areas of agreement to initiate a wellness and fitness program for the fire department.
Wait, I'm sorry.
In order for us to establish a wellness and fitness program for the fire department, it will take other stakeholders.
Oh, right, of course.
To assist.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody should be at the table to discuss the wellness, because I think that prevention, obviously, when you've got, on average, you've got a lot of cases open, we want to try to see where we can, increase the longevity of all of our firefighters here.
One area that did come together with the wellness and fitness was the MOU agreement for no out-of-pocket costs for the physicals, full body screening, and a variety of things. They aren't highlighted in the report. We had a very wide shotgun approach to many prevention and cost improvement measures, most of which I think are identified in the written report.
Are they taking advantage of that? Do you have? The members, are they taking advantage of the medical examination? And
I think a majority are, and I'm very off script on this. UFLAC made a presentation, and they highlighted, I think, 7 or 8 catches that would have been significant illnesses for members, cardiac-based, things that would only be found in a body scan.
Right, cancer.
I can give you a little input in that. There's some of our members are taking advantage of it, not as high a percentage as we would have hoped. Last year, sometime, myself and former President Lima went and took the medical at Westchester Medical Group to try to encourage our members to take advantage of that benefit. In addition to that, recently myself and Chief Everett went to the body scanning because of relief. That's another benefit. And the whole goal of that was try to motivate our people to take advantage of these benefits to address any health issues that may arise. I think that's something that we'll never stop doing, and we have to continually work to get our people to do this in their best interests.
Yeah. No. Yes, and I appreciate it. And I think especially leadership coming from the union and from the chief is imperative to help create a culture that adopts such programs. But also, I want to ask you what you said you have this in FireStat. So you are measuring this. You're measuring what you mentioned FireStat. So you've enrolled with self-appointed goals and accountability. what are the goals and what are you measuring?
Well, as a result of the audit and the implementation of FireStat, we're starting to take a look at performance metrics. In addition to the cost and the numbers of injuries that are occurring, how is our performance? And we're trying to put some of that together. Parts are to see how long it takes just from claim management, from the moment a call is taken in to the time that a claim is processed to the time that the member returns to duty. This data is very, very mature, but it's a goal that they're starting to establish in risk management to take a look at.
Okay, excellent. Are you guys tracking types of injuries and injuries that are likely to, become claims?
We are tracking case types, frequencies, and a variety of things. We know that the top unique incidents that are the most cost, which are usually cardiac, the ones that are the most frequent, which are backs, and physical injuries, skeletal and muscular type injuries. We're still satisfying the data system to collect all of this. We switched over recently from a very simple system to one that is now citywide, which is the IVOS system. And I think it's 3 or 4 years of data that's in place. I believe also there's a shared network with East LA College that's helping to assist with the collection and comprehension of the data to see where we're at.
Oh, what is the status on that?
I would have to defer an answer on that.
Oh.
Summer of 2017.
What is that?
This summer.
Summer of 2017? Excellent. Perfect. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And, is it possible, I also would like to know if we could get a report on the percent. You said it's going, I saw 2013, it was down 12%, and then 2015 it was down 6%. Do you know, or 14 was down, 12 was down, the percentages of claims. So if we could, what was 2015, 2016? I know you probably don't have that information, and you said it's a downward trend.
But my point was a very overview point. We have at times a downward trend in total numbers, but an upward trend in costs that are associated with it. There's a lot to these statistics.
Right.
When we look at the membership numbers change. We've had 685 new members added to the department. Conversely, we've had a tremendous amount of numbers that are leaving the department. Oftentimes, when you leave, you're getting all the things that are duty-related repaired. So we can see an uptick just with the leave, and we can see an uptick just because of the parts that are involved in preparing to get onto the job.
Right.
We have got to find a way to interpret the data from just general, simple level numbers of saying 1,200 to what does the 1,200 really translate to.
Exactly. No. I appreciate it.
Is it age-related? As the force sort of ages, you get more claims? Or?
That was actually brought up in item 6.2, and in the audit they wanted to see if there was a comparison of years of service, age of the workforce, and assignment. Our data in which we collect claims didn't specifically look at a person's assignment, their work history, their number of claims. We're learning to break out those columns on the collection of that data, and I don't think that we can look at just this person's at this age and they experienced a back injury. That back injury can be cumulative.
Right.
So we're still, and that was a priority B in the audit. We felt that there were other areas we can look at for prevention that might have a greater impact than focusing just at the latent stages of a person's employment.
Okay. Is this work group working on wellness and prevention that is meeting quarterly? The strategies?
The strategies are still in the prevention phase. The wellness still takes a tremendous time to get ahead to foster it. We're still putting out the education pieces, and that's the best workforce is going to be, or I should say the best cost savings are going to be in prevention, and that was highlighted in the audit.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that's 5C. No, 5B.
5B. Move that we receive and file BFC 17-054.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
And we don't have any public comments today, so we can move to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.